Brock.
Second.
Better start over.
All those in favor?
No, you better start over.
No.
Okay, start again.
Take two.
Call the meeting to order at
7:14.
7:14. I was going to say, I can't see it.
Okay.
Okay. We need a vice chair.
And I would like to nominate Wayne Brock for vice chair.
I second the nomination. Any discussion? Do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? So be it.
Okay. Let us call the meeting to order at 7:14 of the Tilton Budget Committee, February 6, 2013. We presently have a quorum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members at this point in time. I would like to open the meeting with a review of the meeting minutes from January 23rd, 2013. What is the pleasure of the committee?
I have a correction on the very last line on the first page. It says PD electricity line item, which is higher than the town hall. I don't believe that should be hiring.
Could be.
I'm thinking spell check got us. So,
Spell check fails again.
and other than that, I'm quite content.
Any other corrections or amendments to the minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
I'll second it. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Meeting minutes of January 23rd, 2013 are accepted. Next item of business is review of the received warrant articles. You should have in your possession a document labeled 2013 Town of Tilton Draft 3, results 1/31/213 meeting for 2/7/213 Selectmen's meeting. The first warrant article is pretty standard, is it not, Catherine?
Article 1 and 2?
The Articles 1 and 2.
Yeah. Those will be on the ballot. Those will be the Tuesday.
Okay.
The others that follow will be on the deliberative session on Saturday.
Okay, good.
And as you see, we haven't numbered them yet.
Excellent. And public, please feel free to place your input. It's very informal tonight. Okay, so I would suggest that we go on down to the first unnumbered article to see if the town will vote to raise the appropriate sum of $15,000 to be added to the Tilton Northfield Island Park Capital Reserve Fund that was created in 2012. This will require a majority vote at the deliberative meeting. Is that correct, Catherine?
Yes.
Okay, and we need tonight to discuss and to vote for a recommendation at this point in time for those monies to be placed forward. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we vote to recommend the article to raise $15,000 for the Island Park Capital Reserve Fund.
Is there money in there already?
Half of the money's in there for the engineer. We raised it last year,
How much did we raise? Was it?
same amount.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Moving on to the second article, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 to be added to the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund that was created in 2012. This warrant article will need a majority vote. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. What is the pleasure of the committee?
I move that we recommend the appropriation of $35,000 for the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Any discussion?
Just, again, how much is in there now? Do we know?
That's the road, isn't it?
No.
That's the road, yeah.
Have you got it? How much is in
How much is in
the
it now?
highway equipment, capital reserve?
No, that's roads and, what's the?
This is the equipment, Joe.
Wow.
Sorry,
Are we buying a grader?
no,
Come on.
not as far as I know.
Probably could use another one.
Awful lot of money, this one.
This was the one we established last year?
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
So we appropriated $35,000 at that time, didn't we?
Correct.
Some of it.
And
Oh,
we
okay.
spent, what we got, I think,
Oh, right.
yeah, we had that Franken card.
Town highway equipment fund, $35,000. Available.
We didn't spend any of it from last year?
Pardon?
We didn't spend any of it last year?
We will spend some of it. We have encumbered some of it. He's buying a pickup truck, and I believe we're,
Took it out of the funds last year, remember? We had
Yeah.
to fill the funds.
so we still spend a portion.
Do we know how much is encumbered? No, that doesn't matter, I just,
Let's see.
We encumbered some.
Yeah, I
His
know.
plan is,
It was
I can never remember this,
And then we had to buy the, that was.
35,000 K.
this is the Franken, right?
Well, there's a Franken car, then that'll,
Chevy dump, that's what he's replacing. So we raised and appropriated 35 last year, and it looks like 35 this year will go for this Chevy dump truck 1 ton. And then 2014, we'll start putting in monies for a New Holland backhoe, 35 in 2014, 35 in 2015, and the final will be 2016 for another 35. And then in 2017, we'll start, again, 35,000 for an international dump truck. Currently, the one we have is a 1990. That'll be 3 years.
Okay.
In fact, he's got that up to 2020, oh, he's got it up to 2022.
Thank you, Kathy.
Welcome.
Further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Turning to page 2 of the draft, article at the top of the page, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $65,000 to be added to the town road, street, and bridges reconstruction and/or repair capital reserve fund that was created in 2005. This warrant article will need a majority vote. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. What is the pleasure of the committee?
I move that we recommend the appropriation of $65,000 to be added to the town road, street, bridges, reconstruction, and/or repair capital reserve fund.
I second that.
Any discussion?
yes, of course.
There you go.
I'm just curious, I hate to say it, is that enough? I mean, what does he have planned for 2013? I'm doing some quick math in my head, and it seems like we're gonna,
It is, we just went over that with him last week, and it is enough. I Also, the change of looking at left, I found out I didn't have one of the pages, so I'll make sure I get this correct. But yeah, see, he's got it scheduled out for 2013, what work will be done in 2014. Currently, ending balance 12/31/12 was $235,307.45, with $60,000 of that in transit, and with this money, it'll come to $295,307.45 is what will be available in 2013. Work to be done in 2000, that's 15. Work to be done in
That's the report we got.
2013
Anyway.
will be, block grant, oh, he's got the block grant in here.
We had got the information when Dennis made his presentation, so it should be in.
Right, but I don't know if it's been revised, modified, but I mean,
No, he's right on
No, he's-
schedule.
so just look at and just making sure my information's right. We got roughly $29,000 for Spruce Street in 2013, and then $35,000 for Center Street. Is that correct?
Yep, 34,851.
And then you have the 55 or 5,400 for
Oh, here it is.
Rescue Road and
Yeah.
83, 5,400.
This is his schedule of his repairs. You have his chart of estimated costs. So in 2013, he's looking to spend $77,490. In 2014, he's looking to spend $134,066. In 2015, $298,970.
Are these, I guess what,
But we also get block grant monies
okay. How much?
from the state.
Well, the only reason why I'm asking is, I mean, the price of oil is going, it seems to be jumping through the roof lately, and I'd hate to be hit with an unexpected.
He, in these figures, and I'd be glad to make a copy of this if you want, for you. But in these figures, he has calculated that if you look at these and compare it to this chart, you'll see some of the prices have been adjusted. Thank you, Pat.
I had actually made on my own, made a spreadsheet of this, and I don't have it with me tonight. Broken down by year and what he was expecting to spend
Okay.
year by year, and I was looking for it, and I don't have it today. I didn't-
But I think he's counting on the block grant money, which usually hovers around 50,000 either side of it.
That's something that we
But we don't
know.
We're not going to count on it.
Right.
It comes from the state, so. But so far, so good. We'll see if that continues.
I guess what we have to consider too, if I may say, is the fact that you never know when we might get a big storm, wash out a road, which would put a sudden amount of money in. And as we all know from hearing some of the facts and figures, to redo roads is very expensive. So, it's like he's trying to be proactive in his planning, and that it also leaves him an amount there that will be used on roads, but you never know when, like in past times, we've had sides of the roads eroded away and drainage destroyed, and they've got to go in and fix this, and he has to know that.
Right, but I mean, we're gonna have $290,000 after 65.
Almost 300,000
Right.
will be
We're gonna
available.
spend 77,000, let's just call it 80,000. Now we're gonna be back down to 220,000,
You have to remember the block grant monies will come in.
but we can't guarantee that.
No, but we've
but
gotten
they
it
always
every
have.
year so far, so.
Right. But I guess, okay, call me Mr. Negative, what happens if we don't get that block grant money? Are we gonna be coming back next year and looking for $100,000 or $150,000?
Oh, yes.
His schedule is based on $65,000 being put into that each year.
Right, but what's
And-
his estimate for next year? 2014. I'll wait for the collation.
The totals.
But I thought it was like over $100,000, so now you'd be taking almost half of that money out. It just seems,
This is Dennis's plan, what roads he's gonna do when, and what he'll have going into the following year and so forth, so. Oh, Kat's printing it out for you right now. There you go.
Got it all. When Dennis came to
Oh.
the presentation.
Yep.
I knew it was a good idea.
Yep. Thank you.
I have it, thank you.
No, I don't think I have that. Thank you, Pat. 2015 was the 298,970.
Right, and I remember that, that's an awful big number, but we're not gonna have that much money in there. So I don't know if it's to plan ahead, is it better to put a little bit more money now instead of asking for a lot of money later?
Well, the other option the selectmen have when you get to 2015 is to combine some projects. I don't know what 2016's is, but if 2016 is another, 200,000-300,000, or at least the next 3 years would be over 500,000, then you're kind of talking about bonding it.
But bonding costs money too.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, if we plan ahead and maybe put a little more in there, put a little more in there now.
The capital reserve funds are nothing,
No, I know.
less than 2%. So you're taking tax, we got almost $300,000 of taxpayers' money sitting in an account earning 0 interest. I mean, I got credit cards that earn, that are, like, I could use my little extra dollars to throw at that.
Also, you have to look at the debt schedule too, because we'll be using, fuel funds, and that gets low.
And you're right, we may need to increase that 65.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at 2015, we're gonna spend $300,000 and we don't have it.
Right.
No, it doesn't add up to it, does it?
You look at everything, it's, I think a few months ago, we looked at it, it's like $101,000 for everything. If you look at that in a 10-year period of time.
I just wanna be prepared and,
$65,000 a year.
no.
Especially if we have to start paying $10 million.
Well, has there been any feedback from the new legislature down there, what the feeling is? Are we gonna be getting that more? I mean, are we gonna look at any projects with the state, like some of these roads over here that we're looking that?
Class 2 state aid roads is completely different. These are town roads. Class 2 state aid roads will definitely be a bond project because the town will be responsible for paying 100% of the debt, and it'll be a reimbursement from the state. So it'll be a don't hold your breath. My understanding is that Sampson still hasn't been paid for their road project.
They have not.
That was a huge project.
Yep.
But it's nice, it came out nice. Well, relatively nice, I guess.
Well, we still have Silver Lake out there. Have we been paid for?
We've been paid for Silver Lake.
Just seeing numbers and adding up numbers in my head and seeing it going in the red. Just didn't know if we should plan ahead.
Well, if we're into a Class 2 state aid road project by then, we can bond part of that on top, piggyback that onto it, because you'd have to bond a Class 2 road project anyway. So you can,
Let's just say we get hit by a flood or, a road washes out.
now you're talking unreserved fund balance, that's why that's there.
What is that?
Unreserved fund balance is for unexpected emergencies. This is for maintenance.
Right.
This is for
But I mean,
normal
let's just
maintenance.
say, I don't know, let's, a road that's a town road, Chestnut Street, the little bridge that goes, we've replaced 2 of the bridges over that little Packard Brook there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we have to replace that other little culvert there. Is that gonna come out of this type of fund, or is that gonna come out of different?
If it comes through by way of flood or some kind of unexpected emergency, then that would come out of the unreserved fund. It will not come out of the capital reserve fund because that's for maintenance. Or at least it shouldn't.
Well, no pun intended, I'm just thinking rainy day,
Yeah, that's what our unreserved fund balance is for, rainy day. It's for,
Further discussion? If none, Are we ready to vote as a committee? All those in favor of recommending this article, please say yea.
Aye.
Right.
Come backwards. That's all right. Those opposed, nay. Ayes, take it. Next article, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to be added to the Recreational Facility Capital Reserve Fund that was created in 2002. This also will require a majority vote. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. What is the pleasure of the committee?
I move that we recommend the appropriation of $5,000 to be added to Recreational Facilities Capital Reserve Fund.
Parks and Rec, right?
And I know what the balance on that is now. I know we had that number somewhere, but...
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Discussion.
$27,055.28.
Is there any plans for?
The plan, well, let me tell you, first off, the park commissioners are meeting next week to discuss this further, but the plans have always been to develop some type of softball, Little League in the corner. It wouldn't, at this time, be a regulation Little League because of the 4-foot outfield fence that's required for it, because that would put it in the football field. But it would be a practice field, softball could be played there. That's all, so you get backstops and some lights. It also is to, if you go out on the field with the shacks to your left, that area that goes from the parking lot towards Tanger's parking lot,
Yep.
drops off about 18 to 20 inches. So that field needs to be leveled. It also needs to be leveled for the ice rink. The ice rink, if you go over there right now, is a disaster, but if you go over there, it's kind of skewed on the field because that was the most level spot we could find to put it. So we need to do some work on that field. There's a huge, the berm that you see at the cemetery end of that field is loam. So they'll need to do some leveling with that. But like I said, the park commissioners need to definitively decide next week if they're going to go forward with that this
Do
year.
they have any idea what that's going to cost?
Yeah. There's only one estimate that they've received so far. They haven't RFP'd it, but they've asked people to go out and look to give them ballpark figures. And it's anywhere from, I think the lowest figure so far was like 22,000 up to 33.
We might not have enough in there anyway.
Pardon?
We may not have enough in there.
Loam?
Well, no, money.
Oh, well, like I said, they might just have to go for leveling the field and do it piecemeal and get as much as they can done and then go next year. They've been maintaining the parks without really developing a lot of recreational activities, and they'd really like to start developing programs and having events and sports and not so much maintenance.
And they've done a lot of volunteer maintenance. They've done it themselves. It's in a lot of cases.
90% of the development of the field has been done by the Friends of Winnisquam Football.
Yep.
And I think is it the Falcons? There's a Franklin team that's been involved. You know, picking rocks and raking and planting and, yeah. So it's been a great effort.
Further discussion? Hearing none? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Article is recommended. Next article, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to be added to the reevaluation capital reserve fund that was created in 2002. This will require a majority vote. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. What is the pleasure of the committee?
I move that we recommend the appropriation of $20,000 to be added to the revaluation capital reserve fund.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Discussion.
Is that for figuring out how much our properties are all worth? Is that the,
Yeah, we'll be doing a total reval next year. And this is just the ongoing figure that, we divided up the total cost, and this is what's needed to keep us on track with paying for all of it.
Except with the 90,000
Yeah,
total.
it's chokeable.
cost $90,000 to figure out how much people got to pay?
To do a townwide reval, yeah.
I'm on the wrong person.
Wow is right. Yeah.
Peer assessment,
Further discussion.
it's not in here.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
There it is, reassessment capital reserve.
Next article. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,500 to the Lake Improvement Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund that was created in 2007. This also requires a majority vote at the meeting. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. What is the pleasure of the committee?
I move that we recommend the appropriation of $1,500 to the Lake Improvement Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund.
I'll second it, just to spice it up.
There you go.
You wild man.
Any discussion?
This is for milfoil?
This is the milfoil.
Yep.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of recommending this article, please say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Those days. Those opposed, nay. Article is carried. Next article. To see if the town will vote to adopt the provisions of RSA 3195 for the purpose of setting up a Town of Tilton Recycling Revolving Fund, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $80,700.
Oh,
No.
No, it's-
$87,000.
okay, so we need to change that around.
typo in there.
This is,
I have 87,000.
Yes, but that's.
yeah, but
typed
it's
out
spelled it out as
spelled out as
$80,700.
$80,700.
But then the numerals next to it say the 87,000.
Which number should it be?
87,000.
87,000. 87, Pat?
$87,000.
Better.
Yeah.
80,000, 87,000, yeah. There's no way you
Yeah.
can make that right.
80.
Just make sure we don't appropriate
$87,000.
$87,100.
To that fund for the purpose of implementing curbside recycling on a bi-weekly basis, and to change the solid waste pickup to a pay-as-you-throw system, whereas residents have to purchase designated Town of Tilton bags to dispose of their garbage. All receipts from the sale of the designated bags and any other receipts which could come from recycling will accrue to the Tilton Recycling Revolving Fund. All monies in the Tilton Recycling Revolving Fund will be applied towards the Total Waste Management Program. The town treasurer shall have custody over all monies in the fund and shall pay out the same only by order of the Board of Selectmen. This also will require a majority vote at the meeting. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. What is the pleasure of this committee?
To discuss it.
I move that we recommend the appropriation of $87,000 to the Town of Tilton Recycling Revolving Fund.
Second.
Okay, hearing, motion has been made, it has been seconded. Is there discussion?
Oh, you bet.
There it is.
There is.
All right, we will now open it up for discussion.
I'm going to answer your questions as best I can.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Joe.
Brief overview. 3-4 years ago,
Have a seat, sir.
3-4 years ago, the town of Tilton made a recycling committee. On the recycling committee. To come up with ways to promote recycling in the town of Tilton. Our current total line item, all inclusive for the collection of garbage in this town is $433,000. Some of that's commercial haulers. Commercial haulers pay $70 a ton, which is a revenue to the town. It pays for their part of the process. We looked at a lot of different, how do we do it? We tried the yard sale days, and we tried hazardous waste days, and we tried the town amnesty days, all of which cost money, but they were trying to get motor oil thrown away properly and batteries, and all of the cardboard and single stream recycling and what have you that we could out of the waste stream. We're currently paying $66.80 a ton for the tipping fee. Now, that's not the transportation. That increases that per ton cost. But just for the tipping fee, $66.80 currently. The subsidized, unsubsidized rate, what it actually costs us is $110 a ton. That's what it's costing us to dump our garbage. Now, why is it only $66.80 in the budget? Because the co-op in Concord, of which we are a member, decided that they were going to subsidize the rates because they weren't going to build a single-stream facility down in Pennacook. And they had the money that they had been saving for that purpose, and the co-op board decided to subsidize the tipping fee. But the actual rate's $110 a ton. In 2014, our contract with Wheelabrator and the co-op expires. The future of the co-op is tenuous at best. Concord has made a move to pull out. They're the largest one as far as the tonnage goes, and if we don't have the tonnage, we don't get the break at the incinerator. So what do? You look for another place. Maybe we can bury it up in Bethlehem or somewhere over in Maine. They act $55 a ton tipping fee. How do you get it there? What does that add to the actual cost of a ton to go? Because you pay for the trucks up and back and maintenance and everything else. We've got to increase our recycling, get it out of the waste stream. We have approximately 1,391 tons last year that we paid the $66.80 for at the incinerator. We took out about 130 tons for recycling of all sorts. Now, that includes tires, construction and demolition, television sets, everything, cardboard, paper. Few of the things we get revenue from, but by and large, it's 9% of the 1,391 tons we actually managed to get out right now. Approximately 4% of that is municipal solid waste, which is what we're talking about here. Tipping fee money. How do you get people to recycle? We've been trying for years. It's hard. It's a change. It's different. Lord knows, back in the day, when I was a boy, God, I'm old, we dumped it at the end of the road, which is now a toxic waste dump and it costs millions and millions of dollars. Just that one. Can't bury it really, realistically. Even the ash landfill that we're using for our incinerator ashes down here, it's going to cost millions of dollars a year when we close it down. And that's with state-of-the-art filtration and linings and everything else.
Somebody needs a
Trash is a
lime
hard thing,
factory.
so how do you really get it rolling? The only system that we found that really pretty much ensured that recycling was going to significantly rise and impact all of that tonnage that we're sending. And heaven forbid the economy does get better because then the garbage goes up. People buy more and they dump more. It is what it is. Pay as you throw. What that means is, just like now, we all share the infrastructure part of this, the actual hauling. We all chip in at a equal amount or based on our property or what have you, and we pay for the hauling. But if I recycle like nobody's business and I put out one bag every 2 weeks and Catherine doesn't, and I'm not picking on Catherine, it could be Eric. You pick somebody that doesn't, and you drive by and you see 5 or 6 cans out there in cardboard and plastic, and I'm subsidizing that like nobody's business. As are you and everybody around here. And you drive by on garbage day and see, So if we all pay for the pickup and every person pays for their own tipping fee, basically, it would be a lot like phone service or water usage or sewer usage. We pay for the...
Where are you going to be selling the bags?
We have a number of different outlets available to us. Tractor and Tire Supply Place, the Billy Lawrence's hardware store, the Smoke and Barbie, the Winnisquam Market. We basically picked into smaller local outlets, half a dozen of them, that it would drive foot traffic for our local businesses, and there's no markup on the bags. There's a system, there's a Waste Zero, I believe is now that's the pickup company. What's the name of the bag place?
I was thinking it was Waste Zero.
Yeah, I think it was when
okay.
Dave was doing the...
All right, Waste Zero.
And this says that they will provide us with, each household with a 96-gallon bin for recyclables.
Right there.
Yeah, I mean, I know what the
You
bins
can get
are.
various sizes,
Yeah.
because some people won't need one that
They
big.
just
some
have a
people
mass drop-off on June 1st and drop one at every house, or how's that
We're
work?
going to have to roll that out several weeks in advance,
Okay.
because trying to drop them all off in one day is going to be a horror show. And how many people aren't going to get one on the first drop-off? And, I got to tell you, this is going to cost you money next year. This year. It's going to cost money, because we had to budget initially for the $87,000 that it was going to cost to pick up these recyclables every other week. And we had to figure the total amount that we had anticipated at the incinerator. We have to budget this amount. Until bag revenue is in Tilton revolving fund, there is no revenue. All right? Now, I have figures. I can email you all this stuff so that you can digest it. And I should have done that prior to this, but I was feeling clean, and I apologize. About if you use a bag a week, it's $110 a year. Currently, in your property taxes, the average household in this town is paying $260 a year for trash. You would pay $110 for garbage bags. Instead of the incinerator getting that money, the money goes into the revolving fund. We pay down either the transportation costs, the tonnage at the incinerator. We use that money to pay down the other bills. So in the following year, I can pull numbers out of, at 10% we'll save and 15% we'll save, but the fact is that that's all subject to speculation. And I can't make any guarantees exactly how much money it is, but if people are going to buy these bags, I know they're going to buy these bags because they won't take away MSW without them.
Pat, did you have a comment that you'd like to add?
I'm very excited it's coming on board, because I don't recycle. And I'm very excited to know that I can recycle now. I haven't had the space, now I'm making the space.
Are there further discussion or questions by the committee?
I just have a comment reading the frequently asked questions. I've read this a couple of times, but it seems like you're a little harsh with large families.
I knew you were gonna say, I knew that's what you were gonna pick
And
up.
you know what? Quite frankly, that gives them a bigger incentive than everybody.
But
I've had families, a family of 5, guy came in very sharp with his figures and says, this is going to cost me a lot extra next year. It's like, yeah, it might. Some people are not going to benefit from this new financially. So if people aren't going to benefit from this, why should we do it? Not because it's the right thing to do.
What are we gonna recycle?
But it says, we're going from where we treat, everyone is treated the same. Put your trash out on the side, everybody's treated the same. But people who have a lot of kids, and I know it says here that
Still
studies
comes, Not
show,
everybody is treated the same. I'm subsidizing the guy with a lot of kids. So are you. So is everybody.
well, maybe, but maybe there's a family with a lot of kids that is recycling, so right now we're not, because most people don't
Maybe.
recycle.
Maybe.
But when you go into
Luck of the draw.
recycling, that person that has a bunch of kids, large family, is definitely not going to be able to recycle like a single person or an elderly couple.
If they
So
can,
you're asking them to go from where they're treated equitably to where they're really not. And I think it's just,
weren't being treated equitably to start with. Because
everyone was
Right.
treated the same.
At the dump,
That's not
Everybody's
equitable,
treated the
that's
same right now.
It's communist.
It's all treated the same.
I feel like I'm subsidizing the people that don't recycle.
Good. Eric, you had a question?
I just,
I think it's going to be hard to pass with that.
And it might. It might.
I think it should be
But
less
someday,
harsh.
someday, we're going to be there. We're going to end up having to recycle, and it never gets any cheaper than it gets right now.
I'm just saying, I think
If
there's
it
a,
teaches us anything.
I think there's a better way to put it, rather than large families do not currently get discounts on electricity, water, and groceries or other services.
That is a harsh statement. And
Yeah, that is.
This information was sent to me by Sarah Lakeman, who's from the RCAP Solutions. It's water, it's air, it's a federal government program, and they're in business to help with the water and the air, and they have a garbage specialist, and we've been working with this woman for a year and a half on this. We were going to bring it forward a couple of years ago, except for we got the figures, as you may, some of you recall, that was, I took my breath away when I saw the collection costs. We got it 3 days before the town meeting. We withdrew our petition. No, I couldn't even vote for that. I'm not going to ask anybody else to.
how is this gonna affect the downtown area with the businesses?
Okay, we've, as a Board of Selectmen, we've been discussing the downtown area hard. It's a problem, it's always been a problem. We have an ordinance that is almost unenforceable. How do we alleviate that garbage downtown and make it a nice place and get the stuff off the street? And we were talking about dumpsters out back. There's inherent problems with that, like nobody's business.
Well, I always thought dumpsters, but then I say, then everyone's gonna just go dump their trash there, so I mean,
If
unless,
you can, now see, if you can just
Well, it
bring your
draws
trash
flies
to
and
the
everything
side
else,
of the
too.
road, no problem. Why would you bring it downtown to dump it? But now you gotta pay $2.
they don't have to pay $2.
Businesses do tend to be pretty efficient at recycling when it's offered to them, because a
I'm
lot
not
of,
necessarily talking about that, but if you go down Main Street Wednesday night at 10 o'clock, there's trash everywhere,
because there are apartments.
because there's apartments there, and there's businesses there.
And then
There's-
they
right.
pick up
Some businesses
early.
have large boxes that they put out that I, as Joe
Which would
Public,
now be recyclable.
but
Well,
they
they are
still-
now, but they're just not doing it. And
Well,
we're gonna-
right, but
yeah,
I mean,
The ordinance
It's the
that
ease.
stands, we have to enforce, unless the ordinance is changed at town
Well,
meeting. So they're going to have to put their trash out the morning of pickup and bring their barrels in according to the ordinance, and we have to enforce it.
We've been trying to, and we've been trying to.
We have
ease them
to.
into this.
Now, how's the Joe trash collector gonna differentiate a hefty bag versus a town purchase
It'll
bag?
say,
Simple, because the town purchase bags are bright orange and they have a town of Tilton logo on them. Real simple.
And then
In
if-
in Samerton, they use a sticker. The stickers cost the town less, they cost the people less, but
They're blue.
are they blue? But go ahead and try and find one on some of these bags. It's a nightmare. They're thinking about going back to bags. I've got a long, involved presentation you can listen to at town meeting if you approve to pass it along, because I'm sure the town is going to be very animated on this one.
It'll be the longest discussion.
yeah, absolutely.
Selectmen enthusiastically
Oh, yeah.
endorse this.
Absolutely.
I
And I
don't
don't
want to put words in
recycle.
anybody's
And I'm
mouth.
like,
I know
yes.
I sound enthusiastic, I've been working on it for years, but I gotta tell you, I am a couch burner. I used to save my motor oil to light the couch, but I've learned the error of my ways.
See, they're coming
I
from
think
now.
people are more and more.
They're already angry.
I think people are more and more concerned and knowledgeable about the fact that we have done a job to our world. And I think the environmental issue alone, I mean, if we don't do something today, our children and our children's children are going to be paying a price years and years, and there's not going to be any place to do anything.
I think,
It's
I
going to be
actually
one
think
big dump.
more than that, this is in people's self-interest because it's going to reduce the cost of getting rid of our waste
You know,
and make it easy for people and they will
50
recycle.
years ago, they were doing things, best practices, and now I sit there, and we all sit here and go, what were they thinking? All right? I don't want somebody to say, what were they thinking about us, about me?
But, you know,
So I try.
I think that in the world today, tenants make it difficult for landlords make it difficult for tenants to recycle. And now, here you have an opportunity to make it easier. The town has an opportunity to make it easier for the landlords to make the tenants recycle. I mean, I want
Although they're going to have to find somewhere to store all those bins.
You're basically away, and they're gonna be lined up, or in Franklin, they're everywhere. It's a part of their identity.
You'd be surprised at
big as
how many of our apartment buildings don't have dumpsters.
Right? They don't have dumpsters and they don't have,
They don't have dumpsters.
None of the ones downtown. There's only 2 dumpsters downtown, restaurants own them both. And everybody else just throws their stuff out on the side of the street.
I can't help but chuckle, I'm sorry, that is talking about illegal dumping, but the code enforcement is gonna do that, but we can't enforce the trash regulation now. It makes us think we're gonna be able to regulate.
Well, it isn't that we can't, it's that we don't. Since I've been a selectman and that ordinance has been in place, boards of selectmen have been reluctant to enforce it by the letter of the law. They've also been reluctant to write a new ordinance that they felt was more feasible. I mean, the bottom line is, if I have to get up and go to work at 5:30 on trash day, I got to get up an hour early to get my trash out to the curb.
I put my trash out every
They can do the
Thursday.
same thing.
And I'll admit, I don't recycle because it's inconvenient for me to recycle, and I think this is great.
Now, before we get too far, Lynn has to leave,
yes, and that's why I want to,
and I want to take this time, can I just stop this discussion?
Yes, yes.
I think it's appropriate and important that we thank Lynn for her service to the Budget Committee.
Yes, she's leaving us.
thank you, Wayne, I really appreciate it.
Where are you going?
And thank you, because it was a spirited debate the last time, but I enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm going to miss the opportunity to debate not only you, but Tony.
Well, maybe
added to
after a
this.
break of a couple of years, I'll find some more time in my schedule.
Okay, but I want to thank you for your
Remember
service.
this.
Huge commitment away from your family. It's a huge commitment away from your animals, and we thank you, seriously.
Really,
Thank you, Lynn.
absolutely, have a good time.
2015.
I have to tell you, you little black dog.
Don't wait, 2014.
She deserves it.
Come on,
I didn't know she was leaving. Sad.
He was like, I don't know, it was like an invisible fence.
Yeah.
She doesn't like to go beyond
Well, yay.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
That's exciting.
Good to see you around the.
But she brings such a particular,
Any other questions that you might have?
Just one minor question. We need to fix the error from 80,700 to 87,000.
Absolutely.
And I don't know who will be doing, okay.
We'll do the correction.
The other thing is,
Just a draft.
yeah, and the other thing is you may want to change the word monies, M-O-N-I-E-S, from the one that we have here. So just, if, that's all I would say. Are there any further discussions? You're not leaving yet because you're going to actually vote on this one.
Oh, okay.
Any other discussion?
Just the, so, to put that out, and then that's all that's taken, then those are gonna cost us basically $87,000, is that?
Yeah.
But not each.
It's part of the pickup, the $87,000. That's the actual picking it up and these things right here. Those are about $5,000.
Any further discussion?
I just wanted to ask, is there any way to strike that sentence under larger families? Just that one sentence? Larger families do not currently get discounts? Just remove that
This,
sentence?
the information that will actually be disseminated on that day will be edited.
Okay.
And I did not write that. That was just for a basic, here you go for the budget committee.
Yeah, and we wanted to just make those suggestions, and it might be
Absolutely.
better for that to go through. Any other discussion? Hearing none?
My cardboard box.
All those in favor of recommending that this warrant article signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Article is carried. We will recommend that article.
Thank you very much to the
Be
budget
careful.
committee for considering this.
Good luck.
I think it's long overdue.
Okay, going on to the next article, last one on that, on page 2. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $17,000 for labor and materials to retrofit the Tilton Town Hall, Tilton Public Works Garage, Tilton Police Department building with new energy-efficient light fixtures and bulbs, which will save the town an estimated $5,508 per year. This will need a majority vote at the meeting. The appropriation is not included in the operating budget. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Where's the beginning page?
3-year return on investment. Over 3 years. A long time ago.
it's really not bad when you consider the amount of money for 3 buildings. And we're talking about electricity usage.
But
We're not talking
have we
about,
looked at the power company providing us with that?
yes, the first audit we did was basically
Well,
through them.
the only reason why I ask is where I work, we belong to the co-op, not PSNH like we do down here, but we retrofitted our whole resort. Every single light bulb we made fluorescent. And it didn't cost us a dime out of pocket. It was all money that was saved on our electric bill that went towards that, was worked through that, and I just wonder if that's an option that's been explored with the town.
We've had 2 different audits.
Yeah, the first one didn't make sense because the technology, was ahead of us and hadn't gotten here yet, so it was, and it also would have reduced lumens.
But I'm talking
And the
about,
company.
I know what you're saying.
The company will not allow you to take that monies and put it against your bills and then reduce the bill. You have to pay the monies up front, and then it will be a return on your investment. That was a question that was asked when they came and did the audit and presented the audit to us.
PSNH, right?
Yep, there's a refund from
no,
PSNH.
again, I have different experience with it, and I mean, we're seeing
What's your electric company?
the co-op,
New Hampshire Electric
Okay, it's
Co-op.
different.
right, but I just, I don't know.
I make a motion to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $17,000 for labor and materials to retrofit the Tilton Town Hall, Tilton Public Works Garage, and the Tilton Police Department building with new energy-efficient light fixtures and bulbs, which will save the town an estimated $5,508 per year. Majority vote is required.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Okay, ayes have it. And
I know, it's a stalemate. It's a tie. 2-2.
I did not vote aye.
Oh, you
Nay.
didn't vote?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard you vote.
The ayes, there are 2. Catherine and Jane. Nay was Eric. So the article passes by a vote of 2-1. Next article, maybe Pat, you can help us, because I don't have a dollar figure.
35,000 is the top figure we have for that estimate.
Next article, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 for the purpose of excavating and clearing vacant town-owned property on Business Park Drive, map lot R20-1-6, for the purpose of creating a snow storage area in accordance with NHDES best management practices. Majority vote is required at the meeting. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Didn't we do this, didn't we clear land over there one time? Was it talked about?
We
maybe?
did put snow
Over there.
61 business.
In the parking lot.
So this is the vacant lot next to 61 business park.
I just thought we had
So you
done,
have to clear it, prepare it, do a lot of things with it in order for DES to be approved.
do we make any money off?
There's actually no approvals from DES.
Do we make any money off the timber? Is there any sale
No,
of timber out there?
no, it's scrub, it's garbage. It's, if you could chip it and get
Can you
money
chip
for
it and take it down to the
chips,
school?
it probably costs us more to chip it.
No, it is.
It's just that kind of scrub.
I haven't looked at the tree, it's probably just,
The
junk.
biggest expense is fill because of the terrain. It drops off dramatically from the road. And then it drops off, it comes up a little bit, and then drops off. It just, to fill it in and make it level. To create, and I think it would be environmentally sound of us to create a berm on the backside, so there's no
Town send us all
runoff.
out to bid? Does this town send us out to bid?
This is a result of getting a couple estimates. We'll actually sit down and RFP it. Dennis has some ideas that he's going to present to us Thursday night. They're not definite, but they're possibilities that, we might be able to save a little money on it, but there's no guarantees. It's kind of on the big begging and pleading terrain, but they're great ideas. This is probably, it's a close estimate, but everybody knows, once you start digging in the ground,
Oh, you don't know what's on
you
there.
don't know what you're going to find.
How big is the lot?
Is it just under an acre?
I think it's either just under or just over.
Got enough land,
Yeah,
says for snow storage?
sure. There's a ledge outcropping there, so we're kind of comfortable where it is, but who knows? There's no specific requirements from DES for snow storage. It's quite interesting.
It'll be better than Buffalo.
As long as we don't dump it in the river.
Well, this one was the first one I got in about 2005. See with the pretty little snowflake? And this is 2007, so all they did is take out the snowflake. It's the same thing. It just, don't store it near flowing surface waters, 25 feet from high water mark. Nothing. There's just nothing that they require.
Would we be polluting anyone's wells up there? or-
You do have to stay, you cannot be in the well protection area. You have to be 75 feet from a well. We will be far away
I was
from
going
anyone's
to say way
wells.
more than that.
Anyone's wells.
All right, I make a motion to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 for the purpose of excavating and clearing vacant lot town-owned property on Business Park Drive, map lot R20-1-6, for the purpose of creating a snow storage area in accordance with New Hampshire DES best management practices.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Ayes carry. Next article, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $13,000 for the purpose of constructing office space and meeting room space on the stage area located in the upstairs of the town hall. I believe right here. A majority vote will be required at the meeting. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. What is the pleasure of this committee?
The purpose of this is, over the years, we have a very active board, and there are several meetings throughout the day that are non-public that we have to convene upstairs because downstairs is very public. When we do that, we have to send Joanne down, and she can't do her work when she's downstairs. And it often happens, much too often for us, we don't like to do it, but sometimes we have to. The welfare director downstairs is pinned in a corner and can't do much in her office in the way of traffic in and out with people. And if there's a volatile person in there, there's no in or out. And it's an in, but there's really not an out. So we thought if we closed the stage off and made 2 offices or one, just one,
No,
like a conference area.
This would be a conference area. This will be all walled in. There'll be glass there, so it's not like a cave. Over to the right, which is behind the lift, is what used to be an ingress and egress off the stage. There were 2 of them. We'll create an office space there. Where that white is, that comes off of the lift on that wall, that's actually covering up part of the old door and the stairs behind it. So that will be a second means of ingress and egress. Either the health office will take that and the welfare down here, or the welfare up there and the health office will stay there.
In any event, work can continue, and we can still have our non-public meetings, and it doesn't disturb the everyday work of sewer commission and/or anybody else that's up here.
So the non-publics would be held up in there?
That's right.
I just had in my head.
Attorney-clients,
I
anything
just had
that's...
in my head that you guys will still meet up there and they'd be trapped in their offices.
No.
If they,
No,
No, we can't do that.
dyslexic in my thinking,
So
sorry.
we have some estimates. We still would go out, obviously, for RFPs for and stuff, but
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of... Oops, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead, please. I'm sorry, Joe.
Just making this observation as a resident of the taxpayer. This is a historic building, and we're talking about changing the structure of this historic layout. I don't know when that stage went up there, but I totally support the idea of the offices, and Heather downstairs certainly needs a space that she's not trapped in. And I won't go into that, but trust me. But I don't know, I'm uneasy with that. I'm just uneasy with it. So, and I think somebody should say that. That's it.
Not a problem.
It's not historic up here anymore.
Not ever since the fire.
No.
Over the fire, this is all been added since. It's not historic.
It's been so altered, horribly so. I mean, it was beautiful up here. Joe is right, when that stage, it was ornate, the tin ceilings, the walls, it was incredible. But ever since the fire, it's been like,
are there tin ceilings beyond this or that?
some of it, yeah. I mean, you can see them when you go up in there, but this is,
Gonna be removed?
No,
no, it will just simply be walled over.
right.
I was gonna say, you're not changing the architecture,
No,
the structure of it.
outlets in back where you are sitting right now, for the benefit of anyone sitting in these, the table, you can plug in your devices.
Would the stage be able to support the additional weight of glass and walls and furniture?
Oh, yeah, there's a huge, there's a door there, if you look in there, you'll see a big beam that goes across. They checked all that. The one thing I will note, though, is this is a rough estimate. That price could increase or maybe decrease in the next week, because we haven't gotten an estimate for the additional outlets. This outlet is dead for some reason, which is kind of scary. And the secondary ingress and egress was an add-on to this 13. But since the stairs are there, before they were going to bring the floor level all the way and eliminate the stairs. So the office space would have more floor space.
Where did this 13,000 come from?
A bid from a contractor that came and looked at the job.
Where does the town advertise these jobs that we're gonna, I never see them.
These are budgetary figures.
We have a list.
We have not sat down an RFP. Typically what we do is we have contractors come in, say, this is what we'd like to do. Then they go through and they're the experts, and they say, well, you're going to have to do this, you're going to have to do that, you're going to have to, well, you bring a wall here, and glass windows, and all that. From the information we garner from these experts, we now can sit down and write out an RFP that makes sense, because we pretty much have the nitty-gritty. We had wanted them to put the ingress and egress through this closet. We found out we can't do that, because they came and looked in the pipes and the wires and et cetera, and the chases that run up through there, the cost would be prohibitive.
Put these out to bid?
Well, these will go out to bid. What you're seeing here
That's how they do everything.
are contractor prices that we've gotten.
I mean, I don't look all the time, but I've never seen one in the paper for,
We have,
Sometimes we don't advertise them in the paper because that's costly. We have a huge list of contractors. I mean, there's over 20 contractors on it.
on the website and email. We have also a list of emails for contractors, all the surrounding towns.
just sounds weird if you just list, because how do I know that Joe Contractor's getting that email versus Susie Contractor or something like
Well,
that?
they can all be on our list.
We have I had a contractor call me today. They wanted to be on our list for landscaping if we bid it out in the spring.
Right.
So we have that happen all the time, but it's over 20 contractors.
The key
And
word
that's
I'm
what-
looking for is transparency, and it just seems if we don't advertise it, some may not get the opportunity.
Is it 400,000? I mean, $400,000, that's quite an ad. Isn't it $400 to put an ad?
Right. And if you...
Really, just a little ad like that?
Yes.
Expensive.
So that's why we do it this way.
Is the list of the people who respond to the request for proposals available to people who want to know who bid on?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And we publicly open the bids.
No, I know,
When we sent out 20 of the contractors the last time, there was only 6 that responded. And, well, I should say there were 8 that responded to the job. And then 6 out of the 20 responded.
but I guess that, I was online the other day looking up something in my parents' town, because I was just thinking, geez, they were supposed to dig up the end of the street and they never did. So I found the estimate of the town, and on the town, it was approved last year, and in the thing there was you clicked on one link and it was whoever requested information on it. There was, all the contractors, and then there was a list of the contractors who submitted their bid and what their bid was, and then who it was awarded to. And I was like, wow, that was not, but I've never, like on our website,
You'd have to look in the selectmen's minutes.
People ask for that information, we give it to them, otherwise it takes up space on the website.
well, I just,
We post the RFP on the website for anybody that wants to bid it, anybody at all. That, it's always, it doesn't matter whether it's senior center, highway garage, any town RFP is on the town website, on the main portion of it.
I just wanted to ask, Catherine was just explaining that this number might change. And, we had said, and I know she said too, that when we were talking about Business Park Drive lot, the empty lot, and that number could change, we don't know that. I mean, we're trying to fine tune it, but we put it in here so that you guys would be aware of it. I guess my question to you is, if these two warrant articles change, how do we handle it as far as letting you know? Is this something that you would want to discuss again? I mean, I just want to make sure that whatever it is, that we are aware of it, that we do it right.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the board for that?
Well, I would say if it goes up from the figures you're giving us now, that we would need to know that.
So.
Or I would like to know that. I don't know whether
That's
we
a
need
given.
to know it. Okay? If it's under this or remains the same, I don't see
Yeah, I don't see that.
personally why we need to know it.
Well, I mean, other than just.
But if you find out this is gonna cost $20,000, I think we'd want to.
Yeah. See, I think 13,000 sounds pretty low myself, but that's,
Well, that's why I'm asking, so you know what the parameters are, when you would like us to send you an email or get something to have us to send out to our board members, just so that you would be aware.
I'd like to know what the final figures are, period.
Well, I mean, we can do
You know.
that too, once we have more finalized numbers and more details. Of course, we can certainly send something to Joanna to send out.
Does that matter if you take a vote on
Yeah.
35,000 and the figure changes?
Yeah.
Or are you just making a vote to recommend the article?
They should know the cost, because
Yeah.
we could send it up to 50. They're approving this project, let's make it 50,000.
No, if you, but they already made a.
Let's get some etched glass.
We already made a vote on the 35,000. We have not made a vote on the 13,000 yet.
On the 35,000, so if that turns out to be, 33,000, you've made a vote to make it to 35,000.
Right, but if it becomes 37,000,
I don't think, that price isn't going to change.
Still a vote.
That price isn't going to change, because they're going into raw earth, and that's probably a high bid.
can we change the wording of this to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate up to the sum of 13,000?
No, because I haven't gotten, as I said, the
That,
selectmen
they
asked,
don't know what that is.
the selectmen asked to have a secondary ingress and egress after they had already provided this bid, and then they asked for more outlets. And I'm waiting for them. They came in last week, the end of last week. So tomorrow I will call them and say, "Here's my price."
Hopefully by tomorrow night, we'll be fine tuning all this, so that we'll be able to let you know.
What time's your meeting tomorrow?
4:30.
4:30.
We have non-public until 5 p.m.
I was just curious as to when the town hall is on the list of historic places here in Tilton. Anybody know if it's on the historic places?
It's not.
It's not.
As many times as we've altered this, the downstairs has been totally adulterated.
I'm going to ask Joe,
The post office used to
what's the
be,
difference in
Reservation for historic.
changing the stage, changing the 6 selectmen who sit up here and eat candy like so?
So the question I would have is, can this be amended at the town meeting by the town people?
Yep.
Which I thought would be, so that even if we put in and recommend only 13,000, the amendment can be raised at the town meeting to bring that up.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay? So I think that's one of the venues we would take a look at, is that our recommendation, as I understand it, is for the article as it's written at
Yes.
this point in time.
Yep.
And if that needs to change, we certainly could either support or not support that at the town meeting, and come in and say the town budget committee has reevaluated this, and we agree with or disagree with that of the select board.
Yeah.
Okay, so any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of recommending the article? Whoops, sorry.
There was no motion and second.
There is no motion yet? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Joanna.
I make a motion to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 for the purpose of excavating and clearing vacant. No, we've done that. I
It's
did
the
make-
13,000.
All right. I make a motion to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $13,000 for the purpose of constructing office space and meeting room space on the stage area located in the upstairs of Tilton Town Hall. Of the Town
Second.
Hall.
Okay, seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of recommending this article, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Okay, those are the articles that we need to make recommendations on. The last two articles are for our review, and the next article is for us to, I guess, this would judge whether or not it's accurate at this point in time. To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the Budget Committee's recommended sum of $5,095,470 for general municipal operations as posted as part of the warrant and MS7 form. This article does not include special or individual articles. It will require a majority vote at the meeting. Are there any additions, subtractions, or corrections that we need to make to that article?
Not so far. When's our last public meeting? Next week? Is that the last public hearing?
Yes.
Next week?
Yes.
And the last article is to enact any other business that may legally come before this meeting. We always end with that, for some reason. Okay. That takes care of review of the received warrant articles. I would like to open it up for any public discussion or public comment at this point in time. Okay, hearing none, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded?
Seconded.
All those in favor? Aye, have a great evening. Joanna, you're getting out at 8:30.